The next topic I want to talk about is a couple of specific instances surrounding the real estate industry. And again, we'll start with that More Perfect Union clip discussing how factory homes are being exploited. People who live in factory homes being exploited by big financial groups like the Carlyle Group and BlackRock and etc. So this again, More Perfect Union, discussing the rent hikes that are being inflicted upon working class people by big finance.
People's paradise. It's what we like to call it. I would love that.
When I moved into this park, rent was $440. In 2 years' time, unless we find more funds, rent will be $850.
Everybody came out of the woodwork going, what's going on? This is America, isn't it? Our park was bought by RV Horizons. We all woke up one day to these blue bags hung on our doors that said, welcome to your new community. And we were going, what? We're being welcomed to our own community by this other group?
Most people in this park are well below the area mean income. I purchased my home in 2018. The cost of living in this park was significantly below the area average of Boulder City.
It was really hard to find anything for under $250,000. This was the best way that we could build equity and like the place that we were living.
When RV Horizons purchased the park and came in, they instituted a new set of rules that included provisions that could shift financial responsibility for upkeep of the park onto the resident in certain circumstances, which, based on the economic demographics of the park, could actually be extremely financially crippling and ruinous.
The impact of these consolidators buying communities, runs the gamut. When you don't control the land under your home, somebody else controls it. That's the person or group that's making the decisions on rent increases, on other fees and costs that are being passed through, on evictions. It's really a difference between a group of investors making that decision from a boardroom versus the homeowners themselves.
Oh yeah, and they tried to start charging us for water.
People could not have cars with faded paint, with missing parts, with any rust. We also had a curfew at 10 o'clock. We were not supposed to roam the streets after 10 o'clock.
They also made a nice show of force by cutting up plants that people particularly liked.
So basically they came in and just stepped all over everybody's lots where people thought that there were their lots, their homes. Everybody came out of the woodwork going, what's going on? This is America, isn't it?
Manufactured housing is a unique housing because it's built in a factory. People use mobile homes to describe manufactured housing, but that's an old term. Private equity has come into manufactured home communities because the cash flow is frankly very secure. When you're renting land to homeowners that can't move their homes either at all or it's very expensive to move their homes, investors are finding the ability to raise land rent substantially. The private equity players getting into the manufactured home community space include some of the brand names in the business: Carlyle Group, Blackstone, Apollo Global Management. 800,000 home sites have been consolidated, including by these private equity players. That's about a third of all manufactured home community home sites in the country.
After this kind of abuse, everybody thought a resident-owned community would be far better than what we were looking at with the ownership and the practices we had just seen. We closed on June 21st of this year, and we have owned the park for now roughly 4 months. We were strong proponents and helped get the opportunity to purchase law passed in Colorado, and ended up being one of the first parks to have a strong chance to take advantage.
ROC USA is a national nonprofit organization that helps homeowners in mobile home parks or manufactured home communities purchase their communities as co-ops. We provide both the training and technical assistance to make that possible, and we provide the financing to make that possible.
Other advantages is having a say in the budget and rules of this park.
We're now in control of our lives, and so we don't have to worry about outsiders coming in and telling residents how to live.
Gratitude is the word of the day, the year, the month, and my life. I mean, I'm just so grateful for what you and we have been able to accomplish here. It's fabulous. Knowing that we actually do have a future here, and we're not going to get pushed out like so many other people around this country.
A lot of these parks were built half a century ago and have fairly deprecated infrastructure from years of private ownership and more or less bare minimum infrastructure improvements. Every one of these parks that's going to be purchasing itself has tons of issues that they're going to need to pay for in order to set themselves up for a good, sustainable future. We've taken out a large sum of money to fix up this park, but in doing so, some people are not going to be able to stay. And we need help with that.
There's a whole host of little issues that manufactured home park residents have had to endure. It's been quite a catch-up game because just the range of abuses have been quite large.
This is a working solution for a problem. It is not the end-all solution. It's the best we got at the moment.
So another terrific piece of reporting there from More Perfect Union, and as he noted at the end there, this is the best that we can do in the moment. It's not a big picture solution because there are all these other problems that sort of are the roots of some of these struggles that people are going through. But one thing that I thought was worth noting is he said kind of earlier on in the video, one of the interviewees there, that mobile home is kind of an outdated term because, I mean, think about it. Maybe I'm different than all the rest of how you guys interpret that. But that, to me, that means like RV. Mobile home means like you can move it easily, So a manufactured house is put in a place and then it comes with a great deal of cost to actually move it, right? So I think factory house is a much better, factory home, whatever, something like that is a more accurate term, because that's what's being exploited here. Is if you want to avoid this fee, then move. But no, we're just going to come in as the Carlyle Group or whatever other private equity giant. We're just going to come in and spike your rent and fees through the roof, and if you don't like it, leave. Well, they also can't afford to leave, right? It's not just filling up a gas tank in your RV and driving off. It's paying to move a factory home. So that to me seems like a kind of a linchpin in all of this, that's what allows these financial giants to exploit the working class people who live in these communities. So this is another story of exploitation on behalf of these private equity giants. It's another way that a very necessary commodity in the form of housing is used to, squeeze every last dime out of desperate, impoverished, working class, blue collar type people. And shout out to More Perfect Union for bringing some attention to that. If you happen to be in one of these communities, I strongly encourage you to organize and ensure that the Carlyle groups of the world cannot swoop in and begin dictating your life and gouging you on rents and fees and things like that. A fucking curfew, you guys. Imagine, as an adult person who owns this home, imagine coming in and all of a sudden someone's like, oh yeah, you got to be home by 10 or else we're going to or what? Or what? You're going to have me arrested for like not being in my house at 10? I mean, that is insane. That's insane. That's authoritarian. That's like utterly outrageous. So if you live in one of these communities or know people who do, or you live around one of these communities, get involved in that organizing and ensure that these private equity giants cannot come in and do their worst, right? And we also have, this is all